What's up YouTube? It's me, Jess, and I'm an opera singer. Today's video is another by Nightwish. This is Nightwish featuring Henk Poort singing Phantom of the Opera. Let's go. Yes, wow, really slow, especially compared to other performances. This is the first time that I am not seeing Marco as part of Nightwish. I still got to do some other Nightwish reactions so that I can learn more about Marco, but please let me know down below who replaced Marco. So let's talk a bit about this opening, because this opening is really hard considering you don't have much going on underneath you to kind of give you that confidence boost, let's say, when you go to sing. There's a very bare minimum, some stagnant chords, and then it's boom, you go and sing. That makes it very scary, especially for the first note, the onset, that then leads into the next phrase. And if you're not mentally prepared, it can psych you out if you mess up that onset or even mess up the first phrase. It can be a bit hard to get out of that idea that, oh man, I didn't sing the first phrase like I had practiced it before, or like I wanted to. Then you gotta readjust your mental state to say, hey, that's in the past, literally 3 seconds ago, in the past. Let's see how we can move forward. That's this kind of vibe right here, just an openness of vulnerability. So listening to the very first two lines, in sleep, he sang to me. In dreams, he came. Now, the way that the lyrics are written on this Google search, there is a comma in both lines. In sleep, comma, he sang to me. In dreams, comma, he came. I think if a singer were to choose to take a slight breath there, an intentional one, in order to properly convey the structure of the phrase, what is happening grammatically, I think that can be really powerful. Floor, in the very first phrase, I don't believe took a breath. On the second phrase, but going from the words he came. He came. You heard a little bit of a separation between those two notes. I don't know if that's intentional or if it's the intervallic relationship between those two notes and where it is within her voice. What I want to point out is these two phrases and how she chose to start the song. So the song begins where you just hear this long chord, and the chord is played well before she comes in. there's no beat, right? You just hear one chord and the elongation of that chord, and you come in and you establish the beat. That makes it very hard. I wonder too if the vulnerability of just this moment and that aspect was the reasoning why the first two phrases were saying the way that they were. I personally would have preferred it in a different way, but those are just the first two phrases. So let's keep going. Then she sings, "That voice which calls to me and speaks my name." I love what she did on these next two phrases. First, specifically what she did on the word voice. How she backed off of that vowel. Instead of singing through that vowel O for the word voi, which then goes to an E. Instead of singing through that crystal clearly, she decided to bring more of a speaking factor into that. And I thought that was, it was just one of those melting moments.
That voice which calls to me and speaks my name.
Bringing more of that speaking factor into some of the notes, I think is a beautiful dynamic that you can choose to use in performances, and it works really well here. Next, we move into the next stanza, which begins with a question. And do I dream again? On this part, you hear her bringing out much more chest factor into this one line, and it's more legato, more connected in terms of the lines before.
And speaks my name. Do I dream again? For now I find.
And just as a listener, as a performer myself, I am just curious about other performances choices and why they would choose to do that, and then I just kind of make up my own ideas. Oh, maybe she chose to do that because of X, Y, and Z and didn't do it here because of X, Y, and Z. That's the fun part about analyzing to me. So hearing that stark difference was a nice contrast to what we've heard before. We're going somewhere new. And do I dream again? For now I find. Then we hear the title of the song, this other person that will be a part of the song. The Phantom of the Opera is here inside my mind. There's something dynamically happening that is very different lyrically and emotionally in this part of the song than in the very beginning. And so I like that she chose to bring that contrast out in this way. Okay, I love this huge, massive sound that Nightwish is bringing to this performance. The instrumentals during that small transition where Phantom of the Opera comes out and sings this song is just so iconic. Now, Mr. Henk Poort, I'm really appreciating how resonant his voice is, because he's using a good amount of speaking factor in singing. I'm a really big advocate of that. The only thing, let's say, about his performance is obviously with age, your vibrato changes. And what often happens is the vibrato grows wider as you get older. It's just a natural thing that happens because of the elasticity within your vocal cords. It's just biology. It is what it is. Some people don't have as drastic of a result when they get older, but it's very common. And so to me, that's the main thing that stuck out in his performance, other than how great his speaking factor is within his performance.
And plans behind the phantom of the opera is there inside your mind.
Continuing with that, because he is so developed on bringing that speaking element to singing, you can crystal clearly hear everything he is saying. I didn't have to second guess a single word. And I don't know if English is his first language. That's a good point. Where is he from? Hold. He is Dutch. Okay, so there's a fairly good chance that he grew up learning English. What they have in their favor is how popular the song is and how many people know the lyrics to this song. So that's one thing to keep in mind as well.
So you turn to me and plans behind the phantom of the opera is there inside your mind.
Woo!
Oh, so I've seen your face drawn back in fear. I am the mask you wear. It's me they hear. Your spirit and your voice in one combined. The phantom of the opera is there.
Woo!
Inside your mind.
Man, I don't know if that's in the original. I really don't think so, but the bass in this piece is so iconic. It's so good. Yeah, when they were holding out the word phantom or that syllable, you hear the beat go dun 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 dun.
Your spirit and your voice in one combined. The phantom of the opera is there inside your mind.
Oh, that was so I don't know how else to describe it. It's so good. It's just this new feeling of energy on such an important part of the melodic line. Everyone knows if you don't know any of the words of the song, most people know the Phantom of the Opera. It's so good to pair those two together.
Your mind.
Woo! Yes.
And all your fantasies,
Yes.
you always know that man and mystery were both in you. And in this labyrinth, where night is blind, the phantom of the opera is there inside your
she did something so smart, which I don't think a lot of singers take advantage of, is singing that entire last part quietly or lightly. You don't need to sing that high for that many notes so powerfully. Most of the time, what happens is the very last note, which I think is an E natural, just sounds strained because of how demanding all of the phrases that came before that are. And she's actually kept it pretty light most of this performance, which I liked. I didn't need to hear like this powerhouse sound all the time on this song. I liked, that light angelic quality that she brought out in a good majority of this piece.
Sing for me, my angel of music. The phantom of the opera. Sing for me. Sing my angel of music.
And then it just made that last high note that much more special because it was so crystal clear. And the length. How long did she hold that note for? That's a high note. First of all, it's really, really high in the extreme register. Even if you are a soprano who has that upper register, it's just a high note. So to hear the quality of sound on that note for the duration that she held it is incredible. But holding a note for that long with that much straight tone it's just a no in opera singing. That wouldn't cut through an orchestra. You would need a mic in order to really hear that over an orchestra. But musical theater, of course, that is very much done. And to hear that, it's just so fascinating because I don't get to do that. Her long-held straight tone notes are so good, you guys. They are so good. And this is a different type of note. The ones I've talked about before were either in her mid-upper range, not in this range. And those notes had much more chest quality in them. And so to hear that long duration and then the vibrato was just a powerhouse sound. This is still a powerhouse sound, but in a very different way. It shows how she is able to control that part of her register. The amount of a voice that she chose to give on that note was just incredible. Incredible. It was so good. If you liked all that you saw, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Comment down below what Nightwish performance should be next for my performance analysis videos. Lastly, make sure you check out the description box for ways you can keep in touch with me, get access to exclusive perks, and or take a lesson with me. I hope you have a good day and I'll see you soon.